Hello, my name is Craig Resnick, coming to you from the ARC Forum in Orlando, Florida in 2014. My special guest today is Rob McGreevy. Rob is Vice President of Operations, Assets, and Information at Invensys, and Invensys was recently acquired by Schneider Electric. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning.
You know, one of the themes of this forum has been the Internet of Things. And, what do you see from your perspective, the Internet of Things, and how do you see it playing in manufacturing?
That's a real interesting question, and we certainly have heard quite a bit about that. And it's a very broad topic area, the whole Internet of Things. Hear a lot about it in the consumer side with wearables, and we've heard about examples of this in automotive and how they're tying automobiles and things into it. We tend to look at these things through the lens of infrastructure and manufacturing. So what's going on in smart cities and what's going on in the plants that produce, food and beverage products, consumer packaged good. And for us, the Internet of Things really is an extension, a logical extension of what we've been doing for the past 10 or 15 years, which is a range of capabilities for connecting all the disparate systems and sources that exist in plants, albeit in a much more expansive way. So for the past 10, 15 years, we've connected to all the PLCs, remote terminal units, DCS systems, barcode readers, scanners, all the things that you need to make things, and all the things that you need to operate cities smartly. And what we see now is that the range of connected devices is simply increasing, and the information streams that are available to us to better optimize manufacturing and infrastructure is much greater. So we're seeing things like more central level in smart cities around traffic sensing, things like that, connectivity to things like street lights and such. So we see a broad range of connectivity being one of the key things that's been changing in manufacturing. And of course, on top of that, we build a range of data management, visualization, and then of course application support at. So in the short term, what we really see is this expansion of what we've been doing for years, which is connecting the different information sources in plants and manufacturing and infrastructure in a much more pervasive way.
You mentioned, really a broad range of coverage. If you had to whittle it down to which industries you see most impacted, how would you break that down?
That's a great question. So it is a broad area. I would say two areas sort of jump to mind. One is on the infrastructure side, which for us is power, water, transportation systems, for example. We see quite a bit of emphasis around smart cities. And so I think the Internet of Things impact on smart cities is probably one of the more interesting. So we're in tens of thousands of water plants worldwide, for example. And what we've seen is that the municipalities and the local governments have been slowly but surely adding on other pieces of their smart cities. So beyond looking at just how water and wastewater facilities are operating, how are the buildings operating from a building management perspective, tying in traffic systems, tying in information systems about weather patterns so they can look at things like storm drainage and storm management. So again, it's more on that connected theme of adding more information sources together and bringing together all the different operations that exist inside of, say, a smart city. So I think that's one that's certainly interesting and very, very promising. The other area would be asset management. And again, it's not so much an industry, but it's just a pervasive theme that we see across infrastructure and manufacturing. And the short answer there is, there's a tremendous amount of connected equipment and devices. And all these things have maintenance needs. They need to be maintained. They need to be optimized. You need to make sure that those things are safe and reliably managed and maintained. And so we have a range of solutions to do this as well. What's changed here is that there's just a sheer volume of new sensor information and data that's available. And so you can do a lot more predictive and preventive maintenance activities on these things and really enable people to do their jobs a lot better. So I think the two key areas for us are around smart cities and infrastructure, what's going on in that area, and of course in the area of asset management.
Now playing on that theme, at this forum, certainly there's plenty of other people in the automation space talking about their Internet of Things solutions. What do you consider from Invensys and now Schneider Electric? What do you consider your differentiators? What do you bring to the table that's unique and differentiated to bring the value proposition to your customers?
Sure. No, that's great. Well, I think three things come to mind. One, as I mentioned earlier, we've been in this industry a long time, and we have tens of thousands of installed licenses out there. And one of the reasons that we've been able to do that is because we're agnostic in the sense that our software solutions sit on top of all these different control devices. So we don't have a natural affinity for a single vendor, if you will, or a single piece of hardware or a single device. We build software solutions for the masses, if you will. So that's given us a leg up, because if you think about the Internet of Things, it's about connecting a lot of disparate information sources, devices, sensors that are from all sorts of different vendors, all sorts of different form factors, all sorts of different data feeds. So that's one thing I think that's positioned us uniquely, is broad range of agnostic connectivity to all these different information sources, and of course a platform to support it. I think the second thing that's important is you have to do more than just connect these things together. You need to be able to connect them, but then you have to be able to manage the information that's brought in, display it in a contextual way that makes sense. So we've got a range of applications that sit on top of our infrastructure that supports these types of IoT applications, whether it's visualization or analytics, whether it's asset management solutions, whether it's planning, scheduling, optimization. Those applications for us help enable the value that you get by connecting these systems. So that's the second one. I think the third would probably be the area of people. People is certainly something that gets sort of lost in some of the noise, I think, around IoT. We provide a great deal of capabilities for mobile workers, for example, by way of extending our solutions on mobility platforms. So remote workers can do things like perform maintenance rounds, scheduled maintenance activities, things like that. And we also have been spending a lot of time on procedural enforcement. So once these connected devices have an issue or report a certain KPI or an anomaly, what are the steps or the procedures that you want to dispatch to people to have them actually take action on it? So those are probably the top three things I think that set us apart in the market.
Yeah, and I know you just mentioned people, and that's very, very interesting, because one of the things that we see is we see certainly people talking about IoT as an M2M or machine-to-machine type of connectivity. So if anything you see as your differentiated solution is what you bring to the people side, getting the people connected. Anything?
Yeah, that's a great point, and I think it's worth elaborating a bit on that. So yeah, so much of this has been about, hey, let's connect to devices and sources, and machines are talking to each other. But at the end of the day, there are people that manage and maintain these systems, right? That perform the jobs in municipal plants, in power plants, in food plants. And so at the end of the day, you need to get that information to people at the right time and allow them to take action to it. So we spent a lot of time working on procedural enforcement. So these are workflows or work processes about when these devices need care and feeding, if you will, right, for maintenance activities, or when a performance anomaly occurs. How do we actually badge or notify someone on their mobile device? And not only tell them that there's an issue, but actually give them the steps to sort of remediate that, right, resolve that issue or perform a given task. So again, the people angle for us is all about, okay, we can connect to these things, we can provide management, maintenance, and monitoring, but okay, what should we be doing about those things? Is there an optimization that we should look to perform, right? Is there a set of maintenance activities we should perform? So that's what we mean more by the people angles, enabling people to do their jobs more effectively wherever they are.
Well, thank you very much, Rob. This was great. Glad you're able to be with us today.
I appreciate it.
And again, this is Craig Resnick, ARC Advisory Group, coming from the Orlando 2014 Forum. Thank you very much. Have a great day.